Just think about this for a second. Music is everywhere. It's in our headphones when we walk, it's blasting in our cars, it's the soundtrack to our lives. But for almost all of human history, that was just impossible. Music was like lightning in a bottle. You'd hear it in a concert hall or a church, and then poof, it was gone. Forever.
So what happened? How did music break out of the concert hall and end up in our pockets, ready to play on demand? Well, the answer, like so many things, is a story all about technology.
And that's the incredible journey we're going on today. This is the story of how a handful of inventors and engineers literally found a way to cage sound, to capture it. And in doing so, they didn't just change how we listen to music, they completely changed how we make it. Our story breaks down into 4 major acts, 4 distinct eras. We're going to start in the acoustic age, when everything was purely mechanical. Then we'll jump to the electrical revolution, ride the wave of magnetic tape, and land right where we are now, deep in the digital age. So we'll look at the absolute miracle of capturing a voice for the very first time, then the electrical revolution that let us finally hear every instrument. After that, the magic of magnetic tape that turned the studio itself into an instrument. And finally, the digital age that, put a studio on pretty much every laptop on the planet.
All right, let's dive into that first era. Because before you could hear a recording, someone had to figure out how to even see sound. Okay, so check this thing out. This is the phonograph, invented all the way back in 1857. It was an amazing device. It used a big horn to collect sound waves, which made a stylus vibrate and scratch a wavy line onto a piece of paper covered in soot. It could literally draw a picture of sound, but it couldn't talk. It was never meant for playback. But here's where the story gets absolutely wild. In 2008, scientists took these old soot-covered papers, scanned them with computers, and turned those squiggly lines back into audio. And for the first time, the world heard the inventor himself singing a little French folk song way back in 1860. I mean, just think about that. That's the oldest known recording of a human voice. Incredible.
Now, the real game changer, the device that could finally talk back, came from Thomas Edison in 1877. This was the phonograph. For the very first time in history, you could speak into a machine, and that same machine could play your voice right back to you. Sound was officially bottled. But right away, this new industry had its first format war. Edison's cylinders, they actually sounded a bit better, but you couldn't mass produce them. Then this guy, Emile Berliner, comes along with the flat disc. And the genius of the disc was that you could create a master and then stamp out copies, kind of like a printing press for sound. And with that, the record industry was born. Okay, on to the next big leap forward, because this is where electricity enters the picture and completely changes the game. The age of basically shouting into a giant horn was about to end. So around 1925, microphones changed everything. All of a sudden, the whole sonic range of music just exploded. You could finally hear the shimmering high notes and the really deep, resonant bass. Quiet instruments like the guitar could suddenly take center stage. And get this, a whole new job was created. The audio engineer, the person responsible for mixing and balancing all that new sound. And what's so cool is that this tech didn't just change the sound, it changed the art itself. Singers didn't have to belt everything out anymore. They could get right up on the mic and sing in this soft, intimate, personal way. And just like that, the crooner was born, all thanks to a microphone. The next big revolution came right after World War II, with a piece of German technology that Allied engineers stumbled upon. And this invention would turn the recording studio from a place of documentation into a place of creation. So the magic of magnetic tape really came down to 2 things. First, the sound quality was just fantastic, super clear. But the real breakthrough was that it was editable. You could literally take a razor blade, cut out a mistake, and tape the good parts together. A bad note no longer meant you had to start the whole song over. And this power, the ability to cut, paste, and record over tracks, led to this huge shift in thinking. The recording studio wasn't just a sterile room where you went to capture a live performance anymore. No, it became a place where you could build a performance from scratch. You had artists like the legendary Les Paul using this new multi-tracking technique to layer his own guitar parts over and over again, creating this massive sound that was totally impossible to perform live.
And, of course, this era gave us the formats that so many of us grew up with. In 1948, we got the 12-inch LP, which gave us the concept of the album, a whole artistic statement. And then in 1963, the compact cassette arrived, making music portable for the first time and giving us the mixtape, the original, ultimate personal playlist.
And that brings us to the final era, the one we're all living in right now. This is where sound stops being a physical thing, grooves on a record or particles on a tape, and becomes pure information, pure data.
So how does digital audio even work? Well, think of it like this. Instead of capturing a smooth, continuous sound wave, digital recording takes thousands of tiny little snapshots of that wave every single second. And it turns each one of those snapshots into a number, a string of ones and zeros. And this new digital tech moved fast. By 1979, we had the very first all-digital popular album hitting the stores, Ry Cooder's Bop Till You Drop. It was a sign of a whole new sonic world to come. But the format that really brought digital into everyone's homes was, you guessed it, the compact disc. When it launched in 1982, the CD's big promise was this crystal-clear sound with no pops, no hiss, no degradation. The slogan was, perfect sound forever. But if the CD was a revolution, the MP3 was the asteroid that changed the whole landscape. This little compressed file format made music small enough to send over the slow internet of the 90s. And suddenly, music wasn't tied to a shiny plastic disc anymore. It was unchained. And that changed everything. Which brings us right here, to today. We're living in the world the MP3 created. For most of us, streaming, just having access to everything, has totally replaced owning physical music. But even more important is that the tools to make music have been democratized. A professional-level recording studio isn't some million-dollar dream anymore. It's a reality, right on your laptop.
So just look at this journey. From a scratch on a piece of tinfoil to a computer algorithm that can generate an entire symphony. We've gone from just trying to capture reality to learning how to construct it, and now to creating it with artificial intelligence. It really makes you wonder, what on earth is the next chapter in this incredible story even going to sound like?